this, Andy.
Pleasure.
I know it's a busy one full week of fitness events across the world. I mean, I'm just flying in from Singapore now, and it was like a 14 hours flight which got delayed, cancelled, and now it took me about 19 hours to come here. With a cancelled flight, layover at Turkish Airlines at Istanbul, and then all it took me was 4 hours of sleep to get myself up to meet and speak with you, because I know you're all about energy.
Yeah, I mean, this is an endurance workout for yourself just to get here. Well done.
Thank you so much. So, I know, the best time to be in a place like this at Elevate is when everybody's in, everybody's here. When you usually come at 8:39 in the morning, it's all dead, and then you start seeing the place, kind of come alive. And I walked into the place full of energy. I thought, how am I going to do this with just about 4 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep? And then I come here, talk to you, pure energy, and Elevate, middle of the day, super awesome. How does it feel to be here today?
It's fantastic. The day I arrived quite early because we've got a stand, so we're exhibiting. So we got set up, and I've seen the day just build and build. But you're right, the energy's fantastic, and you feed off other people's energy, don't you?
Right, absolutely. It's so contagious.
Yeah, so no, it's great. I'm here for both days, and it's just great networking, seeing all the innovations that are happening, meeting new people, and it's just really positive, and I'm very passionate about what we do. So it's great to be here.
Yeah, in fact, I love what you do. I mean, as somebody who used to own a chain of gyms, I think music is very undermined in terms of what it can do for you for workouts, and we always and you see a lot of people still doing, okay, let's do a Spotify, let's do this, let's do that.
Yes.
And sound, hearing is one of the senses, the most important senses. And I can't imagine of having a gym without music. You can't work out without music. I mean, for me, I can tell you personally, I work out every day. I can't dream of working out without music. How did you come up with this idea of what you're doing now? And for our listeners, what exactly do you do? Because I know there's a lot of innovation, but best to come from you than from me.
Yeah, so the company is called Pure Energy Go, and we're specialists in programming and producing music for fitness, for exercise, because music is integral to exercise, and music's very, very personal. Yeah. But if you program and curate music with the end in mind, which might be functional fitness, it might be yoga, studio cycling, you can optimize the experience and the performance. Yeah. So I think music's not thought about enough in the context of a gym and experience. If you just leave it up to a coach who's there to coach and train, and not maybe a specialist in understanding music, they might just press play. Now, if you just press play without understanding what you're playing and why you're playing it, you might not give the best experience for those class participants. Right. So Pure Energy Go, we do two things. We control the global rights to our music. And we can talk more about it, but we solve that problem of music licensing. Because if you use music in your gym, in the UK particularly, it's true elsewhere in the world, you have to pay.
Absolutely, you have to pay for a music license.
As a gym, you're using someone's copyright to enhance your product. Right. So number one, we're a music company, so we have loads and loads of producers, DJs, songwriters, musicians who create the music for Pure Energy Go. So we own that for the world. And then our fitness professionals take that music and we program it. So like hour-long programs or 30-minute programs for different exercise disciplines. So we're effectively a music service for the fitness industry.
That's quite a niche.
It's very unique. And I think a lot of people don't quite understand the legalities around music. Like, for example, you can't really use Spotify in a gym. It's for it's for personal use.
And funny you said that. You said about go to a trainer, and the guy's an amazing trainer, right? Say example, somebody who's been training for years and doing for the first time doing a functional fitness class. They don't understand the importance of music and programming, the music programming per se. So funny you said that earlier, that you just go in and play and you just don't understand what's done. And the worst thing you can do in gyms, and these are small boutique gyms where I see this a lot happening. You play YouTube and they've got YouTube ads, and you're playing something, and the entire. So one is the legalities part of it. The second, I think, also is a lot of boutique studios want to give people the experience. But it's exactly the opposite that they're doing, which is not giving them the right experience, because of one aspect of music, because it's overlooked. It's assumed it's there, and you don't have anybody. I know a lot of my trainers who try to look for playlists for gym goers.
Yeah.
And that's not what you want to be doing when you're running a serious business, are you?
No.
So how did you come up with this idea? I mean, it's a brilliant idea, honestly.
Yeah, so my company, I've got a number of companies, and my main company is the Music Factory Entertainment Group. So for 35 years we've been running record labels, publishing companies, and 30 years ago we launched the original Pure Energy company.
Wow.
We were the first in Europe to start taking music and programming it specifically for fitness instructors. We had 10,000 subscribers, so that was back in the day, cassettes and CDs, and so we worked with PPL and PRS
Right.
to legally create music for fitness. So that's what we've been doing for a long, long time. Fast forward to when the pandemic hit. So we had to go online, didn't we?
Right.
And teach. And so consequently, music got muted if it was copyrighted. You
Right.
couldn't play commercially available music.
Yeah.
And if you're running a fitness class, you don't want the music stopping 20
Right.
minutes in.
Absolutely.
So because I have record labels, when the pandemic hit, I realized that instructors needed a solution. So I then deployed all my producers, songwriters, DJs, said, look, I need you to make music for me that is commercial music, as good as the stuff that you're going to hear on the radio, but I need to own it for the world because I need to provide a service for fitness. So I need to retain the rights. So what we did, we said to PPL and PRS, we don't need you to collect rights, money for our music, we'll control it. So over the last 3 or 4 years, we developed Pure Energy Go, which was an extension of our original business, but the only difference was we control the music. So I can now say to you as a gym owner, I can help you be compliant. So if the authorities walk through the door and said you need a license to play music, you can say we're Pure Energy Go.
Yeah.
So we can help you with your compliance. We remove the cost.
Right.
And so if your gym
Yeah.
is teaching 200 classes per month, and you're using commercial music, let's say it's Calvin Harris,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
might bring some Madonna in, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
If you've got 200 classes per month, legally you would be paying in the UK nearly £10,000 a year just to play music. That's your license to play. If you flipped to Pure Energy Go and used our solution and our app, it costs you £960. So we save you a significant amount of money, but also the difference is our music is curated for what you do.
Yeah.
I know you're a functional fitness teacher or your gym is teaching these sort of classes, and so your coaches can now go onto our app and go, right, I'm going to teach body conditioning today, or I need a program that's 135 beats a minute, I need a program that ramps up in intensity. We've done that for you.
Yeah.
So you focus on coaching and teaching, and we'll be your virtual DJ. So that's kind of where the business came from. So we now offer a subscription service to gyms, and we can do this globally, to remove the cost, bring you quality, but structure it for what you do. And so it's a very unique service for gyms, and it's cost saving with compliance and quality.
Yeah, I think one of the while you said one of the parts is compliance, legal, all
Yeah.
these things, but I think the aspect that I was talking about more was, as a gym operator, we don't have the right tools when it comes to music.
No.
We're going with what's available at the moment. So while there's a lot of innovation happening at, what kind of workouts need to be done, what are the new trends in fitness, what's the new kit that you take. And mind you, we don't spend less money as gym owners. We spend substantial amounts of money on equipment and kit. But I always say this, a good gym is a marriage of hardware and software. Hardware means the kit that you get, software means the trainers you get, and you can't compromise on anything. I think one of the things that was missing in the entire equation was the music part of it,
Yes.
which actually is a part of the trainer and how he performs. Now, a lot of trainers with the right music can do wonders for you. And the same trainers without the right kind of programming music just are lost.
Exactly right.
I'm sure you've seen this. So how
Yeah.
do you, when you say you curate music, how do you do that? In terms of say if I'm a gym chain and I've got say 20 gyms,
Yeah.
and I am a functional fitness, gym chain, and I come to you and I say, I need music for myself, and I'm struggling with YouTube and Spotify. What do I do?
Yeah, so you would become a subscriber
Right.
to our service, and when you go on our app, we've organised our app around what you teach. So you can go straight to the functional fitness part of our app, and so all the programs are there for you. So you
Nice.
can search via a kind of musical genre. So you've got to understand who's in your class.
Right.
So if you've got a particular demographic in your class, they might be of an older age,
Right.
you maybe don't want to be banging out drum and bass.
Right.
You want something that feels like it was from an era that they're familiar with. So the app organises around fitness disciplines, but then you can search via BPM range, or you can search via a particular music genre. But you're absolutely right. Music is an integral ingredient to
100%.
performance and fitness. You know that if you go for a run,
Yeah.
or if you're doing, like I'm going to do the High Rocks workout this afternoon.
Oh, you are, is it?
Yeah.
All the best, man.
There is a Pure Energy team going in there.
Oh, nice.
So if I'm doing a 45 minute endurance workout, the music's got to take me on the journey.
Yeah.
If I'm 30 minutes in and I'm flagging on my burpees, that music's got to lift me. And so we understand what you're doing. And so programming that music and taking the reliance off the coach having to think about it and go
Yeah.
searching for music, it's about intensity, it's about structure, it's about the vibe of that music. And so we put a lot of science behind what we do to take the pain away from you. Because you're right, it's like a chef. You know, you can eat a meal, but there's some secret ingredients that's made it better.
Right.
It's the same for a workout. You might not appreciate why you got more out of your workout, but it's because the music was right and the music lifted you. And so that's what we do, ultimately.
Like my team hates my playlist, you know, and some of them are here and they're watching this, and every time my playlist would go on, they would just pop their head out and see, okay, he's working out, because that's my playlist, and that's what works for me as an individual, right? So I think you're right. Trainers require this, the customers require this, the gym chains require this. Let's go back to you as a person, right?
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur. How's been your journey? When did you start? And as an entrepreneur, from how did you come up with whatever ideas, businesses that you had?
Yeah.
For people who don't know who you are,
Yeah, so look, I'm 54 years old, Andy Pickles.
4 years young.
Yeah, so I started at 16 years old.
Wow.
I've never worked for anybody. I've never been for a job interview in my life.
Oh, love that.
So my family business was all about music. So we created a recording studio way back in the 80s, and we started recording music, but we realised quite quickly that actually you could make money if you found a niche, if you found an area where we could actually charge for people using music. Because if you are trying to chase hit records, I've had hit records, I've had 3 number 1 records back in the 80s. So I've been a successful artist.
Why did I not meet you in the 80s?
I know. So I was, in 1989, I was the biggest selling artist in the world.
Wow.
Under a crazy production idea that I had. So, wind back 30 years when you could sell physical records, if you got lucky, and like we did, we had hit records, you made good money.
Right.
But actually, the reality of making money through music is hard. It's an aspiration.
Yeah.
And so you can chase the dream, you can go into studios, record records and hope that somebody finds it, buys it, and you become a success. Or you can make money through music by looking at niche areas. So a gym is a niche area.
Correct.
You need music. So my entrepreneurial journey has always been about music. It's always been about looking for niches. And a really attractive business is one which is a software as a service or a subscription
SaaS,
business,
yeah.
a SaaS business.
Yeah.
So throughout the 90s, Pure Energy is a subscription business. We had 10,000 subscribers.
I think at that point of time, a lot of people didn't even understand what SaaS was. It's the buzzword now.
Yeah,
but a lot
massive.
of people didn't understand what SaaS was.
Reoccurring revenue.
Yeah, it's
Fantastic.
crazy. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who runs a company called Member, and they're a CRM company, and he always says, recurring revenue is that's the big thing, but it's a different animal to manage SaaS as a company, because there's a service aspect to it, and you need to continuously keep improving what you're doing. Your
Yes.
product needs to get better and better. Your service needs to be better and better. It's a different animal altogether to manage. So a product company that's without the service is very different from a SaaS company. How
Yeah.
did you kind of, for somebody who's running, say, a record company, right, and recording music, and to move to SaaS, I'm sure you must have had your ups and downs on this transitioning. So,
Yeah.
So tell me, what is your, the lowest point in your business, in your life as an entrepreneur? What was your lowest point, and what did you do, and what was the situation?
Yeah, I've been involved in quite a few businesses over my sort of, 35 years in business, probably. And so I've always been involved in technology, and I've always been involved in music. And over 30 years, the music industry's changed significantly, from the physical product. So when we first started, you made a record, it got pressed onto vinyl, cassette, CD. You went to a HMV, our price, Virgin Records, you bought that record, and you knew exactly how much you were going to get. The industry changed beyond all recognition.
Right.
You know, we go to downloads, we go to streaming. Every day now there are 120,000 tracks uploaded on Spotify. If I stream 1 million of my tune, I'll make £3,000. And so the gap is significant from where it was to where it is now. So as an entrepreneur, we've been in that situation where the market is no longer there for what you're doing, so you have to move very fast. Low points for me as an entrepreneur is being in with the wrong investors. I've been into a situation where I've had businesses that have to go into administration because you take the wrong money off the wrong people. So you have to embrace failure.
Right.
And I never regret anything that I've done as an entrepreneur, because every day you're learning. And it's like Elevate's significantly important as we're delivering Pure Energy Go as a service for gyms, because you've got to hear the criticism as well. So you've got to hear from your customers who say, yeah, I like it, but it needs to be a bit more of this. And so I'm always ears wide open to be able to hear about my product. I want to know the bad stuff as much as the good stuff. So, in my 35 years, I've made millions of pounds. I've lost millions of pounds. But every day is a learning day, isn't it? You'll know as an entrepreneur yourself. So, but I always look for a niche area. Where can I add value? Where can I do something different? Or actually, how can I improve that service? And music is a really interesting one, because people think music's just there, it's thin air, but it's copyrighted. It's somebody's creation. And so that's what we've done with what we do now with Pure Energy. Look, I still release records, I have record labels, and we still hope for hit records one day, but it's a very, very different market now. So meantime, I've got a network of producers now who are making money through music in a non-traditional way, because the distribution channel is to gyms, and people are now enjoying that music in gyms, and we're able to provide that service. So it's a roller coaster as an entrepreneur, but having that freedom to be in charge of everything you do. Oh, by the way, as an entrepreneur, you have to surround yourself with amazing people.
100%.
Who are far better than you at doing stuff.
That's the key. That's the key. I as an entrepreneur, one of the things I've learned, and like you said, and this is something which is consistent with entrepreneurs who've done well in life, is that they embrace failure. I used to always say the cost of innovation for an organization is its ability to embrace embrace failure, because if you don't, you will never get innovation. People will just say, let's just toe the line, let's do what's right, and let's not take a chance. And unless you take a chance, you're not going to try new things. So I mean, when you say this, it just rings a bell. All the time I see failure is such a big taboo for people who are not entrepreneurs, like especially people who working for somebody. For them, when you live from paycheck to paycheck. Now, the maximum number of people who listen to this podcast are people who are either budding entrepreneurs or are entrepreneurs. What's your message to people, when it comes to, especially, you mentioned companies going into administration. All of us have seen that, it's
absolutely
a part of life.
Yep.
And I don't know why people are scared of it. And sometimes you have to do what you have to do. There's nothing you can do about it. So how do you, when you take a call, as an entrepreneur, you take a call that, what, I'm done with what's happening here. The situation we are in, it's best to move on and take all the learnings from this, ensure we don't repeat what we've done now. How do you take that call? And is it a gut feel? Do you have some method on this?
I think there's two things. There is a fact, the numbers never lie.
Right.
And so if you're in business, there's got to be more coming in than going out, and you will be affected by market changes. The whole pandemic's hit many things. I have an events business, and we had 2 huge festivals cancelled on us. And so I had to put that business into liquidation. I had to, you can't come back from some things, but that's just life. So some of it is fact. The balance sheets, the profit and loss will tell you. Now, unless you can see a way out of that and you can refinance, okay, fine. But the biggest thing is gut. Your gut tells you ultimately. And so, as an entrepreneur, if you want to be an entrepreneur, the first question I ask you is, what kind of life do you want to lead? Okay? Because it's not easy. And with one of my guys, we've got a festival coming up in a few weeks' time. And I've set one of my guys a particular challenge. And he said, I don't think that's going to be easy. I said, it's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing I always ask people is, what kind of life do you want to lead? So I get up at like 5:15 in the morning, and I commute into my office, and I'm the first in the office, generally about 6:30 in the morning. And I'm probably the last to leave. So when you, and by the way, it's amazing when you are in control of your own destiny, but it's tough. So if you want a 9-to-5 job, okay, maybe don't think about being an entrepreneur. However, it's not about working hard, it's working smart.
Right.
Okay? So if you can be in control of your own destiny, if you want that kind of life, which, my God, it's exciting.
Oh, it is.
And it's about the journey. You know, it's like with Pure Energy Go now. You know, I've set a target of 5,000 gyms within 5 years. I'd set 500 by the end of this year. I'll be at 500 in the next couple of months' time, ahead of target. That is an amazing journey to be on.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong, there will be failures and we'll have to learn from it. But being an entrepreneur, being in control of your own destiny, it's amazing.
Right.
Absolutely. But it's not easy. Because, by the way, the buck stops with you, doesn't it?
It does. And I think that's where, you know, one of the things I tell people who, you know, when I go and, you know, do these sessions with, you know, college students, I tell them you need to first understand, you know, exactly what you said. The buck stops with you. Now, most people in the world have an external locus of control. Now, what that does for them is, I have something in my mind, and I think I want to do this, but I'll come to you and ask, do you think this is right? And if it goes tits up, I'll say, you know, I asked him, and he said, it's okay. So you know what you want to do, but you want somebody else to validate that. I think for what I've seen in entrepreneurs is, you know, they will go with the gut feel. And that gut feel is, while we all say it's our gut feel, it's with the kind of experience you've had. It's your own. I think most entrepreneurs who've done well are people who are aware of their capabilities and abilities, and more than that, what they're not good at.
Yes.
I know exactly what the fuck I'm not supposed to do.
Exactly.
Honestly. I will not touch those things with a barge pole because I know I can't do it. And I would not want to fool myself because I'm not trying to cover my ass. I'm not going to get a job. I'm not going to try and impress my boss. I am working for myself and the buck stops with me. I can't fool myself. So what you said is absolutely, it's so damn true. The buck stops with you. I think it's so difficult for people to understand that because then you got everybody else who's depending on you. They look up to you. You know, if anything, if there's a major fuck up in the company, it's the big boss, it's the promoter, it's the entrepreneur. And it's your responsibility. Everybody just looks up to you and says, you know what, you'll never make a mistake. And I think that's a respect a lot of entrepreneurs get from their organization. You spoke about music, and you know, there's this movie I saw recently, a series, Playlist. And
watched it.
Oh man.
Wow.
It's and when you said what you said, in all honesty, I didn't know any of this. You know, till the time I watched the Playlist, I didn't know how complicated it was. We just knew that, you know, music is changing, streaming is coming in, and how difficult it was. And when you actually see somebody saying that, you know, I'll innovate this, and you can stream real time, and the algorithm they build or whatever, it is so exciting. So you can have excitement in any industry that you're in. Now, I mean, would you say, okay, this is a question for you in terms of, as an entrepreneur, do you think you would be happy to be sector agnostic when you do a business? If you see a great opportunity, do you say, you know what, I think with what I have in me as a person and the team around me, I can do this business. I've not done this before, but I can do this. And how do you approach something like that?
I think within reason. And so, for example, my background is music, and most of the work that I've done, most of my business is music orientated, but I also went into education.
Oh, see, there you are.
Right. Now,
amazing.
And I recognised an opportunity, and this was purely me, because I had a music company in the north of England. I got asked to go and talk in schools to young people, as you do. And I realised they hadn't got any idea of what we all did in jobs and the sort of business that were around. And I realised that the sort of careers advice they were getting was terrible. So I thought, let me try and fix that. And so I went into a business there where I created a technology, I created content that helped young people understand what was out there, how to get there, and the kind of person that they were. Now, when I started that, probably in 2005, I then found myself in a room full of local authority people, head teachers, different language. I hadn't got a clue what they were talking about, but you have to learn fast, you know. And so I'm not shy of going into other businesses. I think within reason. Would I go into the hospitality sector? Would I go into construction? No. But anything that's kind of within my sphere, look, I'm a thinker. I kind of see opportunity. So I don't think, I've proved myself that I've not just stayed in music.
Right.
But music is my strength. Creativity is my strength. I'm very much a right brain person, not a left brainer.
Right.
So I'm about vision, leadership, ideas. So I've always been within an area. Could I go into financial services? No. So I think I know I've got my strengths and my weaknesses. I think my strength is my ability to read situations, communicate with people, see opportunities. But I think I also have a bit of a mantra with my businesses to stay in my lane. As an entrepreneur, the danger is that I try and spin off left, right, and middle. So right here, right now with Pure Energy Go, when you think about it, there is a huge catalogue of music that we own, and we're now channeling it and distributing it into the fitness sector. Someone said to me this morning, why can't you do this in hospitality? And I said, I probably will do, but if I do it too quickly, I'm going to probably disrupt what I'm doing in the fitness industry. So I'm going to start playing with that over here, a little side project. So I think if you're an entrepreneur, the thing is you spot opportunity, don't you?
Right.
But I also think you need knowledge of that sector. I'm looking at AI right now, and so AI will revolutionise the fitness, the music industry. It's going to change it dramatically, and so I'm now digging into this area to understand AI. I understand enough about it, but as an entrepreneur, I've gone, I see where this is going, and if I don't get ahead of the game, and I think this is true of lots of things, if you're in a sector, if you have a business that's strong, if you don't keep moving, you're going to get caught out. 100%. And even though Pure Energy Go is flying right now, I know AI will have a big impact on it. And I'm not talking 10 years. I'm talking the next few years.
Correct.
So yeah, for me, in answer to your question, I wouldn't go completely off-piste because actually opening a restaurant chain wouldn't really be interesting to me.
Yeah.
I love SaaS businesses. I love businesses that have an impact on people, and so I kind of try and control myself. But the other thing I'd always say when I'm going into any business area, and what I do generally, is have great people around you. You just touched on it. Know what you're good at.
Yeah.
It's like me. I'm dyslexic. I have a bit of ADHD, so my brain's constantly going. So when it comes to the numbers and the finance, I can read a balance sheet. I know but it bores the hell out of me. Yeah. I'm about innovation, but John, my Chief Operating Officer, who's with me today, he's a brilliant yin to my yang. So he's the guy that goes, right, Andy, give me the idea, let me rationalise it. So you're right, have great people around you, know your strengths, and play to it.
Yeah, you said something extremely important, he's my yin to the yang, and I think that is the key to success, to identify people who can work with you well and who you can work with well, and who can understand and be. I think a lot of times people don't buy into the vision of an entrepreneur, and that's why organizations fail. Yeah. And the reason they would buy into it is not because that you're giving them that salary that you're giving them. Yeah. It's because they have respect for you. You touched on two things. One was communication. Yeah. And I think a lot of times that's the key to success. Communicate, over-communicate. Tell me what is your leadership style and what's your communication style, and what do you recommend to people when as they scale up? I think this is one of the challenges a lot of people have asked me to ask questions. I obviously told them the kind of profile of speakers I'm speaking to put on Instagram. So one of the things is people are struggling to scale organizations. So hitting a say 2 million, 3 million kind of a top line mark is achievable. Yeah. And then when you tell them to think of 100 million, they can't kind of fathom how would I move myself from here to there. Yeah. So how do you do that?
There's a couple of things really. I think again it comes back to the people, right? Empowerment is key. So whilst I have the vision, and as an early startup, as an entrepreneur, you're across everything. Okay. There comes a point where you have to empower people to make decisions and be okay with the fact that they're going to get some stuff wrong. And so if I found as I progressed, and particularly when you're talking to investors, if the business is entirely hinged around you as the entrepreneur, your exit gets very, very difficult. So in the early stages, as you grow that business, you have to build a team that you can step away from. So my business has to be able to run if I'm somewhere else ultimately. So I think from a leadership perspective, I'm all about empowerment. And so I need to find people who can take responsibility, take ownership, and be as excited and as passionate about the business as I am. And so you also need to, not necessarily being generous, it's about being realistic. You need to give people some of the incentive for the journey as well.
Right.
When I'm recruiting, and I hate recruiting people, I always try and recruit folk that I come across.
Yeah.
And my message, which is not helpful always to recruiters, is find me someone who can run with me. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to come in and just clock in and clock out, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Find me someone who can run with me, share the vision. And by the way, as a leader, you have to be open to be challenged.
Yeah.
Just because I sit in the top tower in the shiny big leather seat doesn't mean I'm right. So I succeed if I put people around me who challenge me and go, no, I don't think you're right. I don't think you're right. So I think bringing positive challenge, and the two things I always say to anybody who works with me: bring challenge and be sure about your contribution. And so if you're with this business, really understand what you're bringing to the party.
Right.
If you're coming to occupy a chair, it's not right for me. So I think in the early stages, as an entrepreneur, you're going to be all over everything, but learn very early on that to delegate and empower people and trust them to make decisions, and find a way that, I cannot, it's like with Pure Energy Go now, I used to listen to every piece of music that came out.
Really?
I just can't do it now. I haven't got the bandwidth. So I have to create a mechanism where I can do that, not secret shopper, but I have to be able to dip in. So if you imagine the production line making cakes, okay? Every so often you go in and just taste the cake.
Yeah.
You go, we're on song.
Yeah.
And that's what I do with my music.
Right.
So I'll listen to our programs every so often in my car, and if I hear something that's just not quite chiming with me, I'll go and talk to the label manager. But I can't do everything. So the right people who share your beliefs, who are prepared to challenge you and kick your ass as the chief exec, that's key. I don't like the top-down mentality of leadership. I like sort of a horizontal structure. So everybody, I've got different MDs in my businesses that they have to be able to take responsibility. So I think that reporting structure, empowerment, and giving people their heads is key. Otherwise, your business won't scale.
Yeah.
And if it's completely hinged around you, when it comes to that time when you want to sell on, if the thing's going to fall over because you walk away, it's never going to work.
Right. I mean, there's a very good English saying which goes, you don't get a dog and bark for it and bark yourself. So and that's what a lot of people do end up doing, because they kind of want to do everything. They can't delegate. They want to micromanage, and then they complain. So this transition of, I always say there are two kinds of entrepreneurs. One, who believe they're entrepreneurs, they're actually self-employed, right? They're not entrepreneurs. They're doing everything on their own. And even if they build an organization of 10 people, they're still self-employed because they are not running a business. Running a business is running an organization. And the approach of having the right team. Like you said, when you tell recruiters, I mean, I'm going to start using this now, that, I want somebody who can, just run with me. And that's what you want. People who can buy into the vision, can work with the same speed, with the same work ethic. How difficult is it to find talent when it comes to people who want to work in organizations that are exploding? And I think, how I wish, I was talking to Dave Wright, from my zone, and, he was the first episode of the podcast. And I remember that some of the things that he said are so true. You feel, if you want to be like somebody, you would want to spend time with them to see what they do to, be what they are. I would, back in the day, if I was a student, I would pay for this. I would actually say, just get me in your office for 2 months to see, so if I want to do something like this, I want to go to Andy Pickles and say, Andy, I want to work for you. I may not have the skill sets. I want to learn. I'll work free of cost for you, but I want to learn. I don't think you get that, that era is gone, and I don't think you get people like that. But having said that, how do you balance out where you look at people and say somebody who's passionate, and it's not the paycheck that's the most important. There's this theory in HR, I'm an HR guy, there's the Herzberg's 2-point theory which says the hygiene is your money in everything. It's not your motivation. lack of salary means basically you'll be demotivated, but having salary is not something that will motivate
100%.
you. So how do you find people who will, it's very difficult, to interview people to get somebody who will run with you. You get lots of people and then is it like a click that, okay, you know what this means? What's your assessment process?
There is, you need recruitment. So take account managers.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I need account managers, there's going to be a particular kind of person from a knowledge and a skill set perspective. When I'm recruiting key people in my organisation, it's nothing more than this. I meet you today and I go, I'm vibing off you.
Yeah.
I like you. I get a vibe. And I'll give you an example. We were running a writing camp 3 weeks ago. And I got introduced to a lady called Hannah, who was a singer-songwriter, but she also ran a marketing company. And I got introduced to her because of the music that she was doing. And this girl went from being a busker on the side of the street,
Wow.
to 300 million, 3 million downloads. So every month she has 300,000 listeners on Spotify. But the point is, I'm chatting to her about music, and she said, I do some marketing. Now I'm looking for a marketing director at the moment. So no interview process, but something clicked with me.
Yeah.
And I went, I like your vibe. I like what you're about. So I always look for people. I meet people all the time.
Yeah.
And I go, you've just got that thing.
Yeah.
It's that thing I'm looking for. And it's that connection, it's that personality. Yeah, okay, there is a skill set that I need.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course. But I like to recruit people who are around me ultimately. It's like John, who's my COO. He used to work for a business that was a supplier for me 14 years ago. And right there and then I thought, this guy needs to be in my organisation. And so consequently he did. And he stayed with me for 14 years.
Wow.
And he's now my wingman in a very fast-growing Pure Energy Go. So I think there's two sides to recruitment. Again, back to my mantra, give me somebody who can run with me. So if I meet somebody, I might meet somebody here, and I clock it. I remember this person, and I'll build an informal relationship with them. It's not sitting down having a sort of a hardcore recruitment conversation. It's just getting a vibe off somebody. So I'm a bit of a nightmare from a HR perspective because I'm very impulsive. So this girl Hannah, she's now employed. She's in. She's in. Literally on the way down here, I'm like, boom, you're in. So she's going to come and work within the organisation. Now there's no process there. I just went, I get you. I'm catching the vibe that you understand. And she came back to me and said, I am incredibly passionate about what you guys are doing. And so you're looking for that, aren't you?
Yes.
And sometimes you can't write that down.
Correct.
You can't advertise for it.
True.
You find these people that, and I have a phrase I use with young people, you need to collide with opportunity in life, okay? So if you're not out there, you're not going to collide with it. It's quite easy not to come to Elevate. I can't be bothered to go all the way down to London to Excel. But if you're not here, you will not collide with opportunity.
Yeah.
I got a message to come and do the podcast with yourself.
Yeah.
I could go, hey, well, I'm pretty stretched, but here's an opportunity, and and I've collided with it. And so if you're not out there, and this is the same when you're recruiting, you're going to meet people. And then going back to your point about people wanting to work for free, I love people who kick my door in and don't listen to no. So I think there's something about that.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in you can stay at home all day as a young person and just play on your Xbox or watch cats on skateboards on YouTube, whatever you want to do. But if you want to succeed in life, you've got to go out there. You've got to take your chances. You've got to collide with that opportunity. And I think that's kind of my mantra when it comes to finding the right people. Just put yourself out there,
Yeah, that's beautiful actually. What you've said, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And it's a personality type. People who want to do something in life, want to, just get out of their own spaces, comfort spaces, and try and meet new people, look at new opportunities. And every opportunity, I think, there are so many doors to be opened in our lives, and we are all here for a finite period of time.
I'm with you, my friend.
Yeah, and I just don't understand why people are satisfied with what they have.
But I go back to the point I made earlier, and I do lots of talks in schools and colleges and universities, do a bit of keynote speaking, and sometimes, and it goes back to that point, what kind of life do you want to lead? And by the way, if you want to live a 9 to 5, you want to, work in retail, do whatever you want to do, get home at 5, watch TV, go to bed, repeat, fine. That's the life you want to lead.
Yeah.
But it's like with my kids, I've got 3 kids, 21, 20 and 16. And I always encourage my kids, to just push themselves. And I use this phrase sometimes, scare yourself to death. Now, I'm not talking about jumping off a cliff, but it's like here, I'm on a panel tomorrow, I know you're doing some keynote speaking. That's an example of scaring yourself to death. Doing something that kind of puts a bit of fear into you. But you know what? When you do it the first time and you get over the hurdle and you have scared yourself, you might not have got it right the first time, but that builds confidence. So what I'm saying there is take the opportunity to do stuff that's actually far easier to say no. Oh no, I'm not going to do that.
You're the first person who responded on a Sunday evening when the mail came from Lucy. So Lucy obviously was super stretched, so she sent out a mail, and yours was the first responder. And I was talking to my team in Singapore, I said, boss, that's what entrepreneurs are all about. Doesn't matter it's a Sunday, Monday, Friday, what time it is. If you see it, you respond.
I have another mantra, which is just say yes. I did a deal the other day. I got involved in a conversation with a guy, which is potentially a big deal, which on the face of it, you should say no. I went back to my wife, I've just agreed to this. Because, I'll work it out. Just say yes. You can always, if it doesn't work out, you can, make a maneuver later on. But look, say yes, get involved, put yourself about, go and collide with opportunity. And I'll give you an example. I did another fitness event in Blackpool called International Fitness Showcase. And so we had a stand, lots of fitness professionals there, and this, one lady walked up. She could have been just a fitness instructor with a little studio. She said, I need a music solution. I'm like, okay, cool. So how many gyms have you got? 148. What? And so, proposal's just gone into there, and you're talking a 6-figure proposal. And that's me colliding with opportunity. Absolutely. That's in Blackpool on a weekend where maybe I prefer to be somebody else with my wife walking the dog. But no, I'm on an expo stand in Blackpool, and I went, bosh, collide with opportunity, and hopefully we're just about to close a 6-figure deal.
Amazing.
Because I collided with opportunity.
Amazing. On that note, I'm going to take this and start quoting collide with opportunity. It's probably one of the best things I've heard in a long time.
And I think we'll do some business together.
Thank you for doing this, Andy. Appreciate this.